Welcome to the Conscious Radio Network's YouTube channel. Become enlightened, have fun, and tell all your friends and family to share with everyone they know. You can find us on Facebook and stay up to date on our Facebook group, or find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Our podcasts can be found on Libsyn, iHeart, Spotify, Google Podcast, and more. Most of all, remember to go to our official website at consciousradionetwork.com for podcasts, hosts, future shows, and scheduling. We also want to welcome our international audience. Don't stop now. Enjoy the community. Subscribe today.
This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Good day, everybody. Wherever you might be on this spaceship we call Earth. Welcome to Conscious Radio Network's weekly podcast series, The Seance. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Paul Mekas. If this happens to be your first time tuning in, please click subscribe, like, share, or comment. And also don't forget to follow wherever you listen to your podcasts. Transforming your life with EFT. An extraordinary practitioner whose exceptional skills and knowledge have transformed countless lives. As a certified clinical EFT practitioner with expertise in hacking reality and an advanced student and NCS certified trainer under Dr. Joe Dispenza, she is uniquely equipped to guide individuals in releasing recurring negative thought patterns and achieving clarity, calmness, and joy. Let's welcome to the seance, Sophia Torrini. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here and an honor to speak to your audience. And thank you for such a wonderful intro.
Likewise. So, I know what EFT is, but some don't. What is EFT?
Okay, so EFT is an energy modality. It's a combination of cognitive psychology with tapping on the body's meridian or acupuncture points. And what it does, when you work on certain belief systems and low frequency thought patterns, you reset the amygdala, number one. So the amygdala is your fear center. And if there's any traumatic memories, you can actually release them from your hippocampus. So clinical EFT has shown, there's lots of studies, that it actually downregulates 6 genes of stress. And one of them is cortisol, which is responsible for activating your sympathetic nervous system. And so when your sympathetic nervous system is, you're either pretty stressed out, you could be in a freeze response, and you have those crazy loop patterns, which I'm sure at some point in your life you've experienced it.
Yeah. And what is NCS?
Neurochange Solutions. It's a company that Dr. Joe Dispenza has created, and there's a course that he created that I teach. Change your mind, create new results. It's a neuroscience-based program to help individuals harness their thoughts, overcome their body, their environment and time, to get into a state of creation and create the life that they want to have, whether that's a different reality or to heal their body, whatever it is that they want, or both.
Yeah. I've seen this a lot, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers and listeners would agree that a lot of the things in our life requires more than just medicine. It requires this tapping into the power of the mind, how the ways, the physiological aspect of the body. And are we seeing more of this becoming more popular, more mainstream as we get further on the timeline, so to speak?
Well, people are healing from conditions that they weren't healing before without using traditional methods. Some people use the traditional methods and they get worse. That was me. And then eventually they say, well, there has to be more to life. Something either you're the dark night of the soul or your desperation, because in my case, I didn't want to die slowly, miserably, right? I either wanted to be out and it wasn't happening, or I just didn't want to suffer and I had to look for another way. So both Dr. Joe's teachings plus EFT, because I didn't know how to master my emotions, it's what led me to change.
Yeah. What are some common conditions that people could be experiencing that EFT can help resolve?
Could be any condition, but I'll give you a dramatic story of a woman who had Tourette's. I don't know if you know what Tourette's is. It's like a kind of a nervous, uncontrollable tic, and sometimes they can't control their language and it gets a little vile.
Mm-hmm.
And this poor woman was in her mid 40s, and she said she had it since the age of 4. Well, my intuition said no. So I decided to do what we call a birth re-imprint, revisit her birth. Well, when we were working on the second trimester, she literally, an image came to her, her mother while she's pregnant being beaten on the crib, on the side of the crib. So the mother was being slammed by the husband. And what do you think is happening to the fetus? I think the fetus is feeling anger and violence. And first the symptoms became extreme, and then the symptoms subsided and it was gone. So her first experience supposedly was 4 years old. But remember, reality is always a delayed response. In her case, she had the imprint. Something triggered her again around 4, and it became to the forefront. But the original imprint was, and it wasn't her fault. It was the mother's experience. So that was a dramatic. I also have had a lot of people with panic attacks. Panic attacks, if the person is less than 35, they clear very fast. And then I've had people in my age group, and it takes a little bit longer to work on some limiting beliefs or healing some relationships or being so angry. I mean, I can say for myself, I didn't show my anger. I swallowed it, but I was a pretty, I don't know what to say, just a really inside, not happy person.
Yeah. What led you on this path? What started you? What got your interest into this? What was your trigger and to go, wow, I need to do this?
Okay, so I kind of had a rough upbringing, but I was working in medicine. I have a master's in epidemiology. Epidemiology is the study of diseases. You also do clinical trials and stuff. I also was a network engineer, so I was a very analytical person, but I was in the healing modalities. That was always my desire. And out of nowhere, well, it wasn't out of nowhere. I attracted the experience because of my negative thinking and what was it saying. I had an unfortunate experience having a surgery I did not need, and I did not stand. Well, I partially stood up, but I couldn't voice my voice against the system. I kept on telling them they were wrong, and they, of course, were doctors and saying, you're wrong. And I ended up almost dying. I wasn't expected to live. Somehow I lived. The problem after 23 days in the hospital, my challenge was I had symptoms that I didn't have before. And for 14 years, I was just managing my symptoms. And I went to the Mayo Clinic, top doctors. I really got really top edge care. I loved the Mayo Clinic. Thank goodness I had connections to get there because it's hard to get in.
Yeah.
But my pattern wasn't healing. So I would be constantly having flare-ups till I almost got incapacitated and I was miserable. And I just knew I wasn't going to die tomorrow. And I couldn't picture myself the slow death of suffering, whether it was going to be 18 months, especially after survived the the hospital experience where I was expected to die within a few days. And then I started reading Dr. Joe's work. I mentally grasped it, but I didn't know how to embody it. I didn't know how to become that person. I didn't know how to master my emotions, and I felt there was a missing link. And he always teaches you need to master your body, environment, and time, and master your emotions. So I found this lovely EFT practitioner who literally helped me, and she says, "You're really angry." I said, "Me?" Says, "You're filled with anger." I said, you must be getting this wrong. Well, within less than a month, my anger was everywhere. And the combination of both led me to get off my prescription drugs and started changing my life. And now I had a choice. Do I go back to medicine? And I said, I can't be part of the system. It's just a patch to heal the symptoms, not the root cause.
Yeah.
And my symptoms were I couldn't let go. I had a lot of limiting beliefs. I had a lot of traumatic memories, and I was refusing to forgive. Once I started doing all those steps, the body started on its own with the EFT and the meditation to heal. And then I said, this is what I always wanted to be in healing. And that's when I realized the body actually heals. And I said, this is what I want to do. So the EFT practitioner suggested, well, why don't you just take the course to see if you like it?
Yeah.
I said, well, I can't be an EFT practitioner. There's no degrees in it. I went to school and all this stuff. But then when I started working with people and seeing the joy of them getting their life back, I had a woman who was paralyzed and she could just get out of her wheelchair. I got her, she didn't want to continue working because she wasn't ready to look at her trauma, but I got her to walk without crutches, without anything, for about 20 minutes on her own. And we're not talking months and years. She got 6 or 7 sessions, and I got her to shift some of her beliefs and put the wheelchair, not having it always in front of her, because you get programmed that you need the wheelchair. And I get a lot of joy seeing that. And so I decided to study more and then become a trainer for NCS or Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yeah. It's in a sense bringing people back to life.
Yeah.
It's that people get their life back. They become the person that they are inside and just releasing their true being. Physically, too.
And all the programmed beliefs we have that only medicine can heal us. Well, when you were a kid, I'm sure you fell off your bicycle. You didn't sit waiting, is my scab going to heal? You just knew it was going to heal.
Yeah.
That has been stripped away. When we put the body in the right conditions and we don't attack it, the body on its own wants to heal. And since you asked the question, let's address what disease is. Disease is a lowering of frequency. So when the body has a low frequency, and the body is a battery, it's electric. What happens to you when you die and they want to resuscitate? You take 2 paddles and there's an electrical charge to bring the person back to life, right? Yeah. So the body is electric and has an electromagnetic field around it, just like a wire. And I'm sure you had a Walkman in your life at some point.
Yeah.
You ever remember leaving the battery in there for 2 months and then you went to look at it, it was crystallized and the battery wasn't working?
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens to us when these emotions in the body don't get processed. And between 2 cells, there's supposed to be a certain voltage. Now the cells are acidified and the signal is static. And so the body doesn't know how to replicate its new cells properly because the signal is not very good.
Yeah.
And that's where EFT comes handy. It's like a hammer. You're tapping to break that calcification that got acquired from the slow frequency emotion because we did not know how to process it. It's not the person's fault. You just didn't know how to handle it. You watch a scary movie and you go, and the breath stops. Well, that memory now, that image, didn't do its full circle. It got stuck in your cells.
Yeah. Huh. That's a really, really good explanation. And yet, that calcification, that crystallization, it essentially stops the electrical charge from flowing from point A to point B or cycling, going back and forth.
Right.
But,
so that's what we want to do. We want our electromagnetic field to be flowing, and we want the voltage between the cells to be at the right voltage, because what is emotion? Energy in motion. So you want the emotion to go through and leave it. The Buddha said, to breathe into it and blow it out. I personally am not at that level yet. I need EFT to process the emotion. But when you evolve, you just see it as energy. You breathe into it and you blow it out. And that is why also breath work is effective.
Yeah.
It's a little faster because you're using your cognitive brain that makes the stories that needs to be heard. But breath work restores back the breath. And the breath has to be cyclical, and it has to feel the abdomen. It can't stop on your chest. You have to fill the whole body with breath, which is why there's a few ancient breath works, and there's the holotropic breath work by Stan Grof that he did miracles. He'd have them breathe 12 hours straight for 3 days in a row, and it was like complete transformation. It's hard work. It's a lot of work. Yeah. It works.
Yeah. Yeah. That almost reminds me of the really intense breath work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Wim Hof method. Whoa. Except that guy jumps into freezing water in the Arctic. It's like, whoa. Yeah. Yeah. What unique approach do you bring to your practice that sets you apart from other practitioners?
So I do a couple of things. First of all, I use principles of metaconsciousness. I'll describe what metaconsciousness is. It's the biological component of disease. I'll give you an example. Someone who has pneumonia, person thinks it's a bacterial infection. That's the symptom. It's not a bacterial infection. It is a feeling of powerlessness, not being able to fight against the world, and not being able to defend yourself. And now you feel so scared, and your breathing becomes very shallow, right? So when you address the imprint of powerlessness or whatever traumatic memories you've had feeling powerless, you're going to start healing the symptoms. In my case, I had so many health ailments. One of them is I couldn't let go and I couldn't forgive. So my body was stuck, was literally frozen. My organs were shutting down because I could not let go. I was in a freeze response, replaying what had happened to me over and over, like a hamster on a hamster wheel, not knowing how to get off.
Yeah.
What is Hashimoto's? Usually it's a person not being able to speak up when they were a child, and they weren't being heard, or they're constantly criticized and they were wrong. So usually it affects your throat chakra, and depending on your background, it could be Hashimoto's or something else. Knee problems, not being able to move forward in life. So there's a story behind everything, because the body works that way. The body is telling you, I can't move forward, but we think that the body is attacking us. So the body was telling me, let go. Yeah. And I did not know how to let go. So nothing was working. I didn't know. And eventually I started letting go, and the body started letting go too. So you asked me what else do I bring. So
Yeah.
what I do is we don't want the person to be ever re-traumatized. So I get them at a high frequency level. They connect to get the emotion and the belief from the experience. And I do, in mainstream, it's called matrix reimprinting. I got trained by someone else, so we call it hacking reality. We rewrite those memories after the emotional charge and the lesson is learned. You can't rewrite a memory when there's a charge there. So we have to neutralize it. And let's address why we do that. Where are memories stored? Between two neurons. Where are these traumatic memories? Between two neurons in the brain that you keep on replaying. So once we release that emotional charge, now you can prune those synaptic connections and put a positive image with an empowering belief and start rewriting your story. And that's what we do with hacking reality. We're actually upgrading your software in your brain, and we are rewriting, putting positive images only after you cleared what you had. What is a lesson? Less on. You got rid of what you needed. One thing less on.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. And then I connect them with their future self. Because there's a version of you that's whole and complete, fully awakened, fully enjoying everything in life, probably in a perfect world. So I connect them with that person, which is them, another version of them from a parallel timeline, because where's all the timelines? They're all playing out right now, just a different channel.
Yeah.
And then you create that connection. So your future self is pulling you towards them so you can create a better reality for yourself. That's basically the unique aspects I bring. So I use a lot of neuroscience, I use hacking reality, I use some meta consciousness, but I really focus on the belief systems. And then I use the 7 Essene mirrors. I don't know if you've ever heard Christ was an Essene.
Yeah.
And there's 7 mirrors in reality. So once you find the rules of the reality, it's more easier to navigate. Because who's the other person? Who are you? You're a projection of me.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing them under my own filter. So if I see you as a monster, it's because I have limiting beliefs, not because there's something wrong with you. Louise Hay said something very profound. I am sorry, please forgive me for not seeing you the way I wanted you to be.
Yeah. We already talked about some of the common emotional challenges. Can you share some practical tips and strategies for using EFT and, such as a tool for self-healing and personal growth?
Absolutely. So all we need is a simple recipe, and I'm going to tell you the recipe, and then I'm also going to give you some tips what to do throughout the day. So you can ask yourself, what is it that I'm feeling in order to experience whatever event it is? So let's say someone stole something from you, right? Or someone attacked you. Let's put that one. So you check your body, and maybe it's anger. So you find where it is in the body, and you measure its intensity from 1 to 10. You are gauging, oh, it's a 20. I want to murder this person, whatever it is that you're feeling, right? So you have the emotion, you have the body part, and the event in the present moment. Why the present moment? Because creation happens in the now, right? There is no past, there is no future. Now, if the event happened 20 years ago, what is it that I'm feeling now thinking about it? Yeah. So you tune into the body, and the formula is very simple. The first thing is to acknowledge. You're not accepting that this is what you want to stick with. You acknowledge this is what you're feeling, and then we put a positive spin at the end. So even though I am so angry this person came and robbed my home and I feel it in my gut. I accept this is what happened, and I'm open to seeing it with more clarity and some peace. So I'm putting something positive, and if you've noticed, I started with even though. The reason I put the even though is I don't want to attract more of it in my reality. I'm just saying, even though this happened to me, I'm acknowledging it. This is what I'm feeling. I'm open to seeing it more clearly. And then you do that 3 times. Why do I do that 3 times on the side of the hand? Because it changes the polarity in the body. What would you say the body was? It
Electric.
was, there you go. And then you say whatever it is you want. You always focus on the emotion and you put your awareness where the emotion is in the body, because that's what's going to dissolve the energetic block. So your ego is being heard by saying, I can't believe the guy did this to me. But your awareness is going to help you move the energy. And by tapping, you're like a hammer, you're breaking that calcification. So some people feel energy going up, some people feel energy coming down. What's going to happen after doing that? You will notice your anger has gone down, or you might have a cognitive shift. Oh my goodness, I left my door open and he came in and robbed me. You get some form of awareness. We call it a cognitive shift, and then you're easier to let it go.
Yeah.
So this is something to regulate your body, especially if you're having fear. Fear is a good thing to tap. Even though I feel this fear right here, right now, I'm safe and okay. You're bringing yourself back in the present moment. This fear in my gut, I'm afraid I'm going to lose my home. Right here, right now, I'm safe and okay. So you're trying to regulate your body to come into the present moment. The tapping unconsciously makes you be in the present moment, and I'll tell you why. If there was a tiger chasing you, you wouldn't be sitting and tapping, you'd be running.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're physically tapping is giving a signal to the body that this moment only is safe. And so we want to bring the person back into the present moment to down-regulate cortisol. So this is a practice that they can do. There's tons of videos online, a simple formula. You don't even need to know sentences, just expressing and acknowledging what you're feeling by putting your awareness on the emotion. It's going to make the energy move. When you wake up in the morning, what can you do? Most people, I can say it for myself, for a long time, I woke up anxious. What's going to happen the rest of the day? So first thing I do is I tap to regulate myself, and then I meditate. I literally now have a practice because my thoughts were rampant. They were all over. The world in doom, especially during the pandemic. The world's coming to an end.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. Now I don't even watch the news, and I'm not even worried about anything because I know I'm safe and okay.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, review your day. What are you grateful at the end of the day? You can even do the gratitude in the morning. What are you grateful for? What did you do well today? One thing that I wasn't able to do is, thank goodness I'm finally awake. I was on a track going to the slaughterhouse like the sheep dying out of an illness because that's what I believe.
Yeah.
And then I helped this person today. I got a text from something. We worked on something this morning and she got a raise and something miraculous after because she let something go from her past. And it happened. She says, out of nowhere, I got promoted. So you'll see those synchronicities. And the ultimate result is to bring heaven on earth.
Yeah. 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 How long do you think this is a rediscovered craft or art or practice, and it's something that we're now rediscovering? You think this has been around for thousands of years, and it's like, wow.
Variations of this has been around for thousands of years. Acupuncture, how long has that been?
Long time.
The only difference why tapping works faster, when you go for your acupuncture, you're actually correcting the energy in your body. That's what it is. It's needles, and sometimes they put even electrical charges. Some people, right? But who's the person who's suffering? There's two of you. There's Cain and there's Abel. Cain is the human you. Abel is the spirit you. Who's the one who's suffering? Cain. I can't. It's not going to work. So if you don't let Cain or your human persona, your ego speak, it's going to fester. Have you ever had a child, you don't let him speak and it starts breaking everything? It has to be heard. So I think that's where the magic of EFT is, because that aspect of you is speaking while you're engaging your able part to move the energy. That's why it's working faster than other modalities. There's other modalities as equally effective. It's just that they take longer.
Yeah. So before we go any further and stuff, where can people find you? Even though for those who are watching, they can see your website scrolling on the bottom. But give some of your information out for those who want to reach out to you and
they can come to my website, tapintourbestself.com. I have an Instagram and a Facebook. I offer a 20-minute complimentary consult so people get information. I also have a lot of research on my website, and sometimes I offer a webinar on this NCS course, Change Your Mind, Create New Results, so people can know what they're getting into. And I also do intuitive readings, so to find out what emotions are being stuck or what belief systems they are. I am happy to help them because the outer world is a projection of me. So the more I help the outer world, not only am I healing myself and we're healing the collective, we're making a better world for the rest of us.
Yeah. And if we're having a beautiful day or a beautiful life, and we project that onto the rest of the world. If everybody was living in that state, wow, would it be awesome?
But we're getting there. We're
getting there. Yeah.
We are getting there. So Joe teaches a collective group of observers determine reality. So if we have a big collective start thinking differently, and Bashar confirms it, there's going to be a split in the reality. I'm hoping it's going to be 2026. And I don't know, I'm seeing people live in the 3D and I am seeing something different. So I'm seeing them through a glass wall, but eventually that's going to go away.
Yeah.
And so we're headed, and people like you doing these because you're contributing to awakening the people. If the more of us start thinking this way and have this knowledge that we're projecting our reality, we're going to create a better world for all of us, and we can have fun in it.
Yeah. We got to do another show specifically on parallel timelines.
Absolutely.
That's a whole other show in and of itself.
Happy to do that. That is my calling, actually. I didn't address it. And since I want to let your audience know, all realities are happening in the now. It's just a different channel.
Yeah.
Right? And if you raise your vibration enough, you can go. But I want to leave your audience with one thing. When is the past created? It's created now.
Yep.
It wasn't created in the past. And people think when they're healing that they have to heal this body. This body you don't heal. You raise your frequency, you're going to a parallel reality where this body is healed. This body's ill, if it's ill, is going to continue. I'm just not occupying it. That way it gives people an empowered feeling because they feel, I need to heal this thing. How I'm going to heal? You're not healing this thing. You're moving to a parallel you that's already running on a different channel. And every moment you're creating your past. You didn't create it yesterday. I know you think something happened to you 20 years ago, but you're the one who's calling it now.
Yeah. I've had some meditation experience, some altered states of consciousness, and there's some stuff that it's hard to write it down. I mean, I want to write a book on it, and it's like, I don't know where to start. It's just trying to explain some of the stuff that I've experienced during altered states and seeing and feeling like in the Kabbalah, seeing the tree of life. There was a moment where I was the tree of life, that I was feeling it, hearing it, seeing it, all of it, and just experiencing the flow of the universe and how it operates. And then, but it was only for a brief moment, to the point where I'm like, whoa. And so, yeah, it's seeing, feeling, and explaining this timeline and how everything it's awesome to know how it operates.
I'd love to try using the double slit experiment and the quantum eraser, because those are the two experiments that we can use to explain reality.
Yeah.
But yes, we can have the reality we want to.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have to die in this lifetime.
True.
We want to shift to 5D.
Oh, yeah.
This is a gift that was given to us 300 years ago. To go to 5D, you had to discard this body. This body is going to become crystalline.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to move. For some people, it has become already. And so we need to overcome this fear of death, which I have it pretty big. But even Christ said, you once you overcome death, you basically have everything you want. And we can do that. Yeah. And that's what he showed. By coming in and out of the hologram, he mastered his energy. And
to piggyback on that, it's, from the Christ consciousness back in the age of Pisces, which we're slowly have moved out into the age of Aquarius, and some of it in Christ's teachings is you too can do the things that I do. These were tools that were given to mankind in order for us to evolve and move into to the age of Pisces, the spiritual evolution. And yeah, so awesome.
I enjoyed this. Thank you so much. And whenever you want to talk about timelines, I'd be happy to talk about timelines.
Oh, definitely. Now, before we end the show, what would you like to offer audience as a quick takeaway?
I'd like your audience, and even anybody who's hearing, that we can achieve anything you want. And if they're suffering with an illness, there's a reality where they're well. And also, if anybody from your audience decides to try one session, as long as they say they saw me here, I'll give them a 10% discount on a single package or session. Right. I really want, first of all, I have the complimentary session. I want people to experience, because it's experience that's going to move them forward. I can talk all I want, but till you experience and embody something, you don't believe it's true for you. And it was a gift for me that I fell into these teachings. It was, I don't know, I think it was a miracle. Probably I agreed to it prior to this lifetime. But I can tell you, I had a miserable future. I literally had a pretty nasty future. And I lived it for 14 years.
Yeah. Mm. We also usually have just to help our guests and practitioners that have been on the show, that for those who want to offer anything to the audience, any specials for their websites or practice and stuff, to offer. That way they know where where our audience found you is. Type in the keyword or the password code or whatnot, seance.
Yes. If they say seance, they want to take a package, they want to take the course, I will give them a 10% discount just by watching this. And hopefully the more people we get to heal, we will see this future that Bashar says by 2026.
Yeah. And I assume too that you don't only have to be in person, that you can do this remotely with you.
I do it on Zoom. Actually, that was the gift of the pandemic. It works as a effective. And to be quite honest, it's better because you would have to go an hour to your appointment. I live in New York. Your session was 90 minutes or an hour, and then an hour coming back. Now on Zoom, as long as you log in on time and you're off on time, you save this 2 hours back and forth and the hassle. And it works as effective because there is no time. You're just a projection right there. We're not, see the two of us here on the Zoom and we're on different locations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cool. Sophia, namaste. Blessings, my friend.
The same. I'm really happy to that the questions you asked. I'm really very grateful for this opportunity.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And humbled to have you on the show.
Okay.
And humbled to also have you back and get into another topic.
We'll go on to timelines, or we can do a demonstration, but I think timelines would be a good start so people can loosen their thinking. We were programmed. Okay, so it's not people's fault. I want people to know whatever their experience, it's not their fault.
Yeah, breaking loose this program that we've been stuck with and stuff like that, and then get back on a brighter, cleaner, more brightful road.
And a better movie.
Yes. Yep. Awesome.
Thanks.
Sophia, blessings again. Thank you very much for your time and being with us on the seance today. And until next time, thank you for watching the Seance on Conscious Radio Network. We will see you next time.